All right, we're going to begin and we're going to get a little bit silent. And from the silence, we'll be able to appreciate the music and the rest of the conversation. So if you will take a minute to sit comfortably in your chair, and if you'd like to, close your eyes and begin by breathing in and breathing out. And as you do this, listen to the sound of the wind coming in your nose, your breath, making a gentle whisper. And allow that breath to go deeper into your body, filling your lungs and going deep into your lower belly, expanding the muscles of your lower belly with every breath. And if you're comfortable with that little whisper of your breath, let's allow ourselves to have silence for several of these deep, peaceful breaths. Breathing in peace. Breathing out any stress or overthinking. Relaxing more deeply into your body. Feel yourself sinking into the chair and feel your feet planted on the ground and magnetically connected to the earth as you breathe. And now, using your creative imagination, feel the breath as light coming into your nose, your lungs, your torso, your lower belly. Feel sparkles of luminescent light invigorating your body with every breath. And now feeling that light as the frequency of love, unconditional love, sparkly like a glass of champagne. Invigorating every cell of your body as you breathe. Feeling the joy in every sparkle of light. Now bringing your attention to your heart center. Imagine there is a plaza in front of you, a wide open space, a plaza, and it has a fountain in the center. However you see this is perfect. And your heart expands as you imagine this wide open plaza. And you may feel in the distance people dancing, light music, and the feeling of joy in the air. Breathing this into your heart, allowing the peace to expand. And your whole body feels lighter. And taking this same energy, feel it in your lower belly, an expanded space, and a bubbling fountain of water. Hear the gurgling water, the gentle sounds and reflections of the water. Releasing any tension you feel in your lower belly, in your hips, and in your whole lower body. Breathing in, breathing out. And now, feel the area in the center of your skull, just bringing your attention there. And again, the same beautiful image of a plaza filled with light and sparkling water. And the sense of joy and love. And now imagine that that fountain is flowing out the top of your head. This light and love, which looks like water from a fountain, is spreading out from the crown of your head and flowing down your head, your shoulders, all the way down your torso, lower body, invigorating your physical body and your aura with sparkling light. It flows down past your knees, down to your feet, and you are lightly enveloped in sparkling, luminescent light. Heart is relaxed and open. Head is relaxed and open. Lower belly is relaxed, open, expanding. And when you're ready, allow yourself to come back into this reality. Wiggling, maybe blinking your eyes open. Whenever you're ready, allow yourself to come back to this space and time, knowing that this peace is available to you anytime you want to do this meditation, anytime you're feeling stress in your body or in your mind. You can relax and fill yourself with light and love. Take a little bit deeper breath as you come back, opening your eyes. And if it feels good to you, bring your hands to your heart center, giving thanks for this moment that we have together and all the gifts of this beautiful life. And so it is. And now Lynn is going to play some music.
as many of you know, that I was worked with music for people for many years. It's music improvisation training, and I was part of the I ran the musicianship program in Amala, and also Michelle, who's here, who's a pianist, were part of that group. And so we got to know each other very well as musically. So for this presentation, I said to Amala, I said, okay, we're gonna I want you to play one of your songs or and then when I met with her the other day, she said, "Oh, I've got so much going on. And then you wanted me to write a song." And I said, "I didn't say you had to write a song." So the good news is I inspired her to write a song because she thought she heard me say, "You have to write a song." So I'm handing it over to you on now, Amala.
Thank you, Lynn. So, as those of you who know and love Lynn know that she's just this amazing heart of peace and flows in the moment with whatever is happening, seems to just have this infinite love of just being able to juggle what's be put before her and stay in such a beautiful heart-centered presence. And I strive for that. And there are days that suddenly I don't feel like I'm in my flow. And I had many things come my way this past week, unexpected. And again, managed to do things as best I could, but I knew I needed to write this song. So each one of us has our own unique way to process and become regrounded again. And so I just took the tools that I love, which is to chant, to make up some sounds and use my voice. And I put what I was feeling. I just started to sing, and then what was different was that I wrote down what I was singing, and so it's not like a song with a verse and chorus, but it's what's happened, and I'd like to share that with you, especially with what it's Janey, correct? Who just gave that incredibly beautiful meditation. So with our flow, and I think of our spine, our spine is this incredible support structure, right? And energy goes up our spine and also descends, and it clears all the channels and the organs that are there, all associated with the spine. And when those are clear, of course, we are flowing. And so, doing techniques to help that stay in good health and alignment, and makes makes for a life where so much more can come in and elevate us, right? And help others to serve. So, this is what happened. Oh Lord, I need help remembering my life is like the river. She bends, she flows, falling round all that appears on her way. The river stays connected to herself first. The river serves so many, yet herself first. The river stays connected to herself first. The river serves so many, yet herself first. The river inside me flows. She stumbles and clogs when I don't let go. There's a dam of clutter in my head, and more pile up in emails and the clothes on my bed. Ah, oh Lord, help me remember, no matter what it is, to simply flow. The river in me extends from the river in you. That's where my life's purpose grows. So breathe in that river. And see yourself. Invite yourself on that, floating on that boat, around those obstacles, over them, beside them, seeing them as lovely ways to just become even more. There's a chant that the Kundalinis use, the Kundalini yogis, to really help align that spinal energy moving up and down. It is a wonderful chant I'd like to do with you now. You don't need very much to say the words with me, but just this part that helps us to engage our navels. So if I say navels up, what happens to your body? You feel that compression that comes in where the spine, the belly kind of moves back toward the spine. If you say ha, it happens there too. Everyone with me? Ready? And ha. Ha. So you can use the word UH, and it happens 3 times in this chant. So it sounds like this. Ekonkara Satanama Siriwa Hey Guru. Ekonkara Satanama Siriwa Hey Guru. So we're going to do this for 1 minute. I would love you to join me if that feels good for you. And again, just feel the flow of your river and that little impulse, like that's one of those obstacles, but you're flowing around it. All right. And here we go. Inhale, everyone. And release. And inhale and prepare. Ekonkara Satanama Siriwa Hey Guru. Ekonkara Satanama Ekonkara Hey Guru. Sorry. Ekonkara Satanama Siriwa Hey Guru. 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 Keep going, 30 seconds. Ekonkara Satanama Siriwa Hey Guru, Ekonkara Satanama Siriwa. 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 Hey Guru. And again, just notice how you feel in this moment now from when you first came in. And like Janey said, you can recall this at any time, any day, simply by remembering this moment. It's in you. And we have shared it, so it's in all of us. Be well, everyone. Satnam.
Thank you, Amala. That's just beautiful.
Who was it that used that chant? You named some
Oh, it is
tribal.
from the the yoga tradition of the Kundalini yoga tradition.
Okay.
That is one of the pillars of their chants, and all of those, each syllable vibrates in the mouth and on the tongue to help open the head and the heart and the whole body.
Right.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And put together, is there a translation, or it's syllable feeling? I mean, you know what I mean.
Michelle, thank you for helping your girlfriend here. Yes, there is quite a translation.
Oh,
So this mantra, mantra, right? It's something that was repeated. Man and tra. Man means mind and tra means calm. So all mantras are here to just help us calm our minds, right? The mind is calm. All sorts of things can come in. We can hear our divine purpose and instructions, that can be channeled down, right? We can hear each other. We know what's being said between the words. So that's called also the Laya mantra. The rhythm used for the Laya yoga mantra is very specific, with the navel pulled in at the end of each section. The identifies the sound that is produced from pulling the navel in at the end of each line. This extraordinary Laya yoga chant brings the soul and destiny present. It suspends you above all conflicts. It lets your activity serve your purpose. It lets your activity serve your purpose. It makes you creative and focused on your real priorities and helps you sacrifice what is needed to accomplish them. Yeah, right?
Amala?
Yes, that's it.
I absolutely loved the song that you wrote for this session on your very difficult week. And to me, I'm a big lover of gospel music. And it just seems so gospel to me when you were singing it. And I'm just wondering if every people all across the world find this musical repetition and chant and special meaning in their music. And if you've been studying that, or because so many of the I do a meditation. Um, it's TM, and it's a repetition of a mantra. And so many, I find myself, I love music, and I find myself drawn to repetition of, I don't know if you would call all the repetition mantra, but it just seems it flows throughout the our bodies, and because our DNA is so musical. So I just wondered if you'd ever done any comparison of this music when you're under stress that comes out and calms you.
I love the journey you just took us on, and then reminding us about how the sound current that comes from chanting goes through our whole body. And I think that you were saying also that in the song I sang, it reminded you of gospel music. And I would love you to rephrase your question.
Well, I love gospel music, and I've been to many gospel concerts, and there's always repetition, and there's there's a repetition and a rhythm a rhythm is often in musical compositions repeats and repeats and repeats.
Yes, yes.
And some of the words in their music, and I'm talking about the slaves in the United States, they were the words meant something different to them from what they were saying, and there was they
Correct.
always repeated it. There was a mantra going on both with the rhythm and the repetition in the chorus, and it just all of a sudden when you were singing that, I was getting these visuals of I'm thinking of in Mississippi or along the Mississippi River. And I was thinking of the twists and turns of the Mississippi, and how you sort of coordinated it with a flow of our lives, and our DNA, our molecules, whatever, and that you were like turning this way, trying to go with the flow and do the best you could. And I think of these people, the slaves. It was just such a challenging situation, and they were trying to do the best they could and to soothe themselves and have themselves get through it. And I'm taking up too much time, so I just wondered if you had ever done any comparisons. I'll go on after we have this session, and I will look it up myself, but I just wondered if you had, because I just love that song that you sang. It really touched me.
Thank you. I think that we are all on this beautiful journey with what you've just said and how you brought this together. Certainly in the Indian tradition, kirtan, repeating phrases back and forth, there is this calming, melodious rhythm that just gets put into the body, and one can let go of whatever's happening in the moment outside yourself to just stay present and stay focused and keep on going no matter what you have to face in that moment. It's an extraordinary practice of repetition and call and response. But I love what you've offered, and to not take up any more time, I think that maybe when we all meet next month, we can come back and see what our research has brought to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, to me, that song was really a prayer. So that's probably why it felt a little gospel-y. Because it was a prayer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't that a prayer that you sang?
It was this moment of asking for help, yes,
Yeah.
from outside myself to my divine source,
Right.
perhaps inside myself too.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Amala, and everybody for the beautiful discussion. Yeah. Julie?
It just came to me, Betsy, that there's a book, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's called The Singing Neanderthals. It talks about the origins of music and music making, starting with how it's in our bones and in our from the very beginning of humankind. So it I don't know that it would have I don't remember that it has research about the mechanics of music, the way that you were asking in terms of repetition and call and response that emerged, but it's very interesting, and it talks all about how and why music is so important to who we are as human beings. So you might enjoy reading it.
What is it
What
called
was the,
again?
what was
About the
what was
singing Neanderthals.
the what of the Neanderthals?
Singing.
the
The
Singing?
singing
the singing of the
Neanderthals.
Neanderthals.
I'll put it in the chat too.
In the
Well,
chat,
Singing
Joey.
the Neanderthals?
The repetition has it puts us kind, you could say, in a trance, or it does something with our brain waves to get us into more of this trance. So let's say shamanic drumming, it's repetition, and a lot of healing music has repetition, and so it's a very important element in music.
Just wanted to say one thing, and to thanks to Janey and to Amala. You both said, what you gave to us is always there. In my mind, it's always there. The river is always there. That peace is always there. So it's like the remembering. So I just wanted to thank you, that reminder. It's not like it has to be brought from somewhere. It's there. And your song just really, through the emotional, what you were tapping into the river that was always there. And then it was everyone's river. That's what I heard anyhow.
Go right for it. Okay. There it is. Okay.
Okay, so when I was 16, I was a model for a lot of different artists. And one day I was with all these artists and I took a break and I just picked up a pen and I just started to draw. And I mean, my father was an artist, so I was around art, in our home and everything. But I had this drawing was done in 1973. And I just happened to be at my daughter's house last night, and she had this on her wall, this and the next slide. So when I first started to draw, I just drew with a rapidograph pen. I didn't sketch anything out, I just drew freehand. So this was a friend of mine. So that's that one. I think this one was 1972. Same thing. So I just drew, I did lots of drawings, black and white drawings, and I sold all of them and I exhibit them in many places. And I just thought I would always just do black and white drawing. And again, I just drew. Now when I draw, I'm not that free. I'd like to kind of get back to that place, but I just took my pen and drew. I didn't use a pencil. Now, like, I have an eraser that's this big. So when I draw, I keep saying I make a lot of mistakes. But anyway, so I had a boyfriend at the time who kept telling me that you need to paint. And I'm like, no, I don't paint. I only do black and white. So anyway, I started to paint. This is actually a more recent painting. I think I did that in 2015. That's a really big paint. Most of my paintings are pretty big. That's, I think, 36 by 48 inches. So that's a painting. That is a recent painting. I was trying to show kind of, well, actually, it's kind of going with the river theme here of love and light kind of coming through you and coming out of you. I mean, as an artist, I always feel like I'm in that space of just kind of a conduit for, I'm really super creative And in all the things that I do, I mean, it's kind of what I've come to really identify as my biggest strength as a human being. And I was really trying to show like just kind of that openness to kind of have that. This painting was a challenge. It took me a while to get it where I wanted it, but that's the most recent painting.
Very beautiful.
This one was the one I did before the one you just saw. And this one was kind of during the Black Lives Matter in the streets. And I was really trying to show the it's kind of like a tree of humanity. I love birds, so I kind of use birds a lot. So that was that one. This one I actually have behind me. It's huge. This one I did when the protests were happening with the water protectors, and kind of initially, I was really moved by that whole experience, and I was really upset about it, and I could get myself really upset about it now just talking about it. But to me, the water rights are the main issue. I think when you look at all the injustice in the world, it's this whole thing of companies taking over land, water, so it's like the core of all the problems. Plus, when you have water issues in one country, they go into another country. So if you're poisoning your water here, it can go into another country and poison their water. So it's a world problem. So yeah, and this painting, as you can see behind me, it's really big. This is a painting of, I kind of started out making a collage, which I hope we have the picture of the collage. I made about 25 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, about 20 years ago. I just made tons of collages I collaged on the back of playing cards, and I scanned them into my computer and I sold them on eBay. And I sewed on a lot of them, but they were really small. But I managed to have images of a lot of them. So recently, I'll talk about that on the next slide. I think is the slide of the collage. Yeah, so that was a collage that was originally on a playing card, which is like 2 inches by 3 inches or something like that. I recently found out that I could use my printer and print on fabric. I could buy these sheets of fabric, excuse me, at Staples, and print on them, print on cloth. So I printed the collage onto an 8.5 by 11, and then I quilted it with a machine. And then I sewed all these sequins on it. And put a border on it. And I have these collages under glass. Excuse me. So I'm using the generations of my own art to make more art. Now I'm 66, so this was a painting that I did in arts. This is another one of the, excuse me, I got a dry throat. This was a painting that I printed. I have a photograph of a painting. I printed it and then I quilted it and embellished it. This original painting was done when I was in art school, and it was from a live model. And that was back in the 80s that I went to art school for a brief period of time. And a friend of mine has this painting at her house. She bought it from me, and last time I was at her house, I was like, "Oh, I love this painting." So I took a picture of it. So I had it on my phone and I printed it. So that's where that came from. So these are some of my fiber arts. I make one of the things I love to do is make aprons, wearable art aprons. I probably made about 200 aprons at least. And I use vintage fabrics like this one, the apron on the top. Yeah, there's one apron on here. That's a cross stitch needlework on the bib. This is the one on the right, the purses. I buy needle points all over the place and usually take them out of their frames. So that was a purse. The one on the bottom with the phoenix is a carpet, a big tote. And this particular needlepoint, some of these birds come from Israel. They're actually vintage French needlepoints. And most of the people that make the needlepoints, they get a kit and they follow, like a paint by number. So I've been able to find that I live in Phoenixville and people love the Phoenix. So I've actually made 4 totes using that same needlepoint, even though they're completely different. And that other one is a dress. So those are pretty much, and oh yeah, when I started having kids, when I had my first kid, I stopped painting because to me, painting takes just my whole mind. And I mean, I literally can't take it out of my mind while I'm working on it, because I'm kind of deciding what to do with my painting when I'm not looking at it or when I'm not painting it. Anyway, it was taking up too much of myself. So I started making dolls. When my kids were little, of course, I made dolls for them. I made all their clothes, toys, dolls, blankets, mobiles. But I really got into making all these sculptural dolls that hung out on the walls, which I don't have pictures of any of them. But I have those in galleries, and some of them were really big. But this is a recent one that I made. And it actually took longer to make that little polka dot dog than it did the doll. But I glued pom-poms on the dog to make the spots. So that doll is pretty big. It's maybe 2 feet high. And the dog's on the leash. And those are just vintage quilts in the background. But I've made hundreds of dolls. I mean, I'm older now, so I have made so many things. Right now, I'm kind of starting to make these little, actually, let me get up and get one. Okay. I'm kind of into the Virgin of Guadalupe. So I've been making these little shrines with, I got a silicone mold to make these. But what's happening with this, it's like a whole other medium, and it involves glue that's toxic and it's not immediate. You have to glue and then let it wait. And so it's kind of a whole new thing. I had to get all new tools and supplies and everything. So, but I'm going to be at, I have a group of artists that twice a year we have an art show at a private home. And it's this beautiful old stone house, and it's on the French Creek, and there's a lot of property. So people come and hang out for the day and take a walk along the river or the creek. So if anybody wants an invitation to that, if you give me your address, I can send you the information about it.
You can come stay with me, and then we'll go. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful show and a beautiful property.
Yeah, it's just so great. I mean, people come and then they hang out all day and then they come back the next day. And it's just a beautiful spot. And there's a website for it that is, it's the Frog Hollow Art Show. So it's just froghollowartshow.com. anybody wants to go to the website and see the website, it just got put up yesterday and it's beautiful.
Do you have
So,
any of your Guadalupe dolls?
I have one. Hold on.
Yeah, I have several of Victoria's dolls. Let's see. Yeah, I have like birds all over my house that she made. She also does paper arts. So I have a lot of her paper birds.
Okay, so this is one of my Guadalupes. Now this was purchased fabric that I just quilted and stuffed it, and I did all kinds of stuff to it. But this doll is Frida Kahlo, and this is my drawing that I printed on fabric and made into a doll, and she hangs and turns. And what happened with Frida Kahlo was when I was 24, I traveled all through Central America and Mexico. And I always have, since I was in high school, I've always had my hair up with flowers in my hair. And when I traveled through Mexico, I bought all these weep heels, these beautiful embroidered. So I actually looked at my own weep heel to draw this. I wore this, I mean, I literally looked like Frida Kahlo, but I didn't know about her. I didn't know anything about it. And then some people started calling me and saying, "Oh my God, you got to watch this movie of Frida Kahlo. You look just like her. You have this," and I'm like, it was just really amazing. So I made, actually, the original drawing of this was for a paper doll that was a mermaid. So I made paper dolls for years and sold them too. I still have them, some of them. But so that image of the paper doll, I printed on fabric and then started making these. And I've made a bunch of these, so only one I have at the moment, but I'm going to try to make some more before Frog Hollow. But I just got a granddaughter, and my daughter is a textile designer, and she really needs to work. So I've been taking care of my granddaughter, which I want to and I love. So I'm not sure how much stuff I'm going to have ready for Frog Hollow, but I will be there. So Lynn, thank you for having me, and I enjoyed the music and the song very much.
Your entrepreneurial spirit that comes from the heart and what you believe in and using all your talents to the best way, it's just really inspiring.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much. It's just everyone made me smile a lot. I found myself really just it filled up with love.
Oh,
And it
wow.
was just and because there were so many dolls too, and very abstract, and some our child within. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting, dolls. Like I started making dolls, oh my gosh, really young, like 16. I never played with them when I was a kid, but I've always loved like dolls that were really primitive, or, just real. And then you realize, I mean, I used to write a column for a cloth doll magazine for making creative dolls, And I remember writing an article about how, when you think about a doll, like so many of these dolls, like my daughter, one time when she was a baby, one of my daughters was in the tub and she wrapped a soap up in a washcloth and started rocking it back and forth, So it's, the dolls are the mother makes a doll for the child. So what you're saying, I mean, there really is a lot to the whole, even though a lot of the dolls that I make, like here, I just see one up on the wall here. But this one. This one is made, it has a prayer on it. It's about not being alone. It's a Gaelic prayer and it's all stamped on it. But this one, I have this, like a lot of these I don't sell, but this one is a giant merman. So that is all embroidered.
Man, I love
Not
it.
all who wander are lost. It's got a big tail. Yeah, dolls. I love dolls. I collect them. I have tons of dolls. I have dolls from all over the world, and I love to see how they make them. And they usually use the fabrics from that country. Like I say, I love fabric, obviously. So dolls are awesome.
Here's a doll that Victoria made, and if you see her wings are like it. I don't know if you can see. It's music.
Sheet music. Yeah.
Sheet music, and then it has a little tag here that says "Little birdie, sing to me," and she's got a little bird on her head.
Yeah, somebody gave me all these pieces of quilts that were missing the center. They were like these, I forget what it's called, Dresden plate or something. And they were her aunts or something. And she said, I don't know what to do with these things. So I used them to make a skirt. That's how that doll came about. So that's about it.
I am in awe.
Thank you so much. This makes my day. Makes me feel good.
Well,
Appreciate it.
too.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much.
The women in my mother and the aunts and the great grandmothers, they were all hand workers, and there's so much lace and fabric that has come down to me, and it's like calling now, and I keep meeting people such as yourself. It's like, how do we start that? How do I begin? I just see how you have been led on this spiritual quest through the fabrics and what you've touched and what you see, and you just put it into your work through your hands, from your heart to your hands. Wow. Fantastic.
Well, it's kind of interesting, like this whole needlepoint and embroidery arts are really coming back. But it's just so funny because it's a whole new generation. Like a lot of the embroideries and stuff that I have that are on my aprons are things like, no matter where I serve my guests, it seems they like my kitchen best. They're these real, kitschy kind of. Now these young women, I follow a lot of them on Instagram. I just love them. There are things like, damn, it feels good to be a gangster. Those are the words they're embroidering. It's not about being in the kitchen, stuff like that. It's more like, some of it's pretty, wild and crazy. And there's a few women that I follow that are young that just do massive dolls with massive embroidery on. They're just really inspired too. So I think it is coming back. There's a lot of newer needle points, and they're expensive. Like even to buy a needlepoint canvas that you have to, needlepoint are going for like over $100. So those arts, it's because women are, getting up here and saying, hey, that's valuable. Like we don't need to wait for men to tell us that these arts are valuable. Like we can say they're valuable. They're really valuable. I mean, they tell the story of life. All the quilts and, it's all of our grandmothers and their grandmothers, and taking, doing what we all do, like making the best with what we have, not throwing stuff away, trying to figure out how to incorporate it. So to me, it's kind of a primal, ancient, the cloth arts, or just like if any of you are on Facebook, there's somebody now has a Facebook thing, and it's all women artists throughout history. All right, now I've been an artist, since I was 15, and I have never seen, and every day they post artwork of women, and I'm like, I've never seen any of this stuff, and it's just fabulous. And it is interesting because a lot of them, I'd say 90% of women who paint throughout history. There's animals, birds, children. You know, I feel very emotional. It's all life. It's all about life. Things that are alive and things that are beautiful, nature, and you know, it just seems like a real strong theme for women artists. So,
Life is what it's all about.
excuse me?
Life is what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah, don't we all know that now? Like we lived, it's just so basic. We're all here, we lived through the pandemic,
Here, here.
you know? So,
Well, I'm so glad that these tubs of fabrics and things that they made that weren't necessarily in pristine shape anymore, had holes or whatever, I've saved them. They if they don't come to me and I'm not inspired, I will bring them to you.
oh, God.
But your
you're
beginning
inspired.
pictures that you showed us, the one with the woman with the light coming from her hands, and then the one before that you said that you had done being part of the tree and the Black Lives Matters, and that through their fingers was also the pieces of the wood of the tree. Oh my gosh. And what's is standing right behind you? Can that get put up permanently outside on a building? That's just so important to be reminded of that whole, the water bearers that we
I know.
in us all to protect the water.
It's just really the main thing. That's where you just see all the corruption is about the water. I remember seeing Ted Turner being interviewed maybe like 20 years ago, and he said water is going to be the issue, like getting water, having water. So, you know, water, you know, your river song is just so poignant. I mean, the water is life. And
So
if your water's being robbed and polluted and dammed, and you know, it's the whole. That's it.
I know we don't have a whole lot more time. Can you hear me?
yeah.
I just want to tell a quick little story that's kind of a segue. First, I do want to say how inspired I am by your art, Victoria. I even sent your link to a friend and she's like, yeah, you showed me already. I'm always so inspired. But
Thank
this
you.
was a little story from a friend here in Mexico. She and her husband live outside San Miguel, way out in the country, the Campo. And so they know a lot of people who live out there and are barely making a living. Well, Mexico has been hit a little bit worse with the drought than the United States has. So this whole area where she lives, they have no water, none. So part of what's happening is the young men, so they have to drill deeper and deeper and deeper. And when they drill deeper, there's more arsenic and there's more fluoride in the water, and it makes the children, especially the children, sick. But anyway, they have to keep drilling lower and lower. So some of the young men in this village have to cross the border to the United States to work, to earn enough money so that they can come back to Mexico to drill this well. And the water in the well is going to grow the vegetables that are sold to the United States.
Wow.
So it's this really odd circular thing that's going on, but it really speaks to your passion of protecting water and respecting the water.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I just want to say one more thing. That painting with the woman with her hands, with the light coming out. When I was painting that, I was thinking about being a hollow reed, like, and I just thought, you know, I don't know what possessed me, but I just typed into the internet hollow reed, and this song came up. And if you go to YouTube and you type in "Make Me a Hollow Reed," there is it's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard in my life. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. Lynn was going to learn how to play.
Yeah, I was gonna learn it. She told me about it. Yeah, it's beautiful. I started to learn it, and then I ended up writing my own song instead.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the chat so you can see. You see, it's called, I think it's called, Oh Lord.
Well, what's the name of the
Make Me a
artist?
Hollow Reed,
Yeah.
and it's the album that it's from is BADAHST, I think.
Mhm.
H the dash. What was that guy's name? Lynn, Eric Dozier.
Yeah, you should
Eric,
know.
Eric Dozier.
Eric Dozier. So speaking of gospel, Eric Dozier, he teaches gospel music to white folks so that, people get get that spirit, and he does beautiful work, and he is a Baha'i, which Victoria is, but it's a beautiful, beautiful philosophy. But I'm going to want to share with you a song that I wrote for you all, and it's called "Singing of the World," and it is written. The words are from Vincent Tavani, and Vincent can also be found at the farmer's market. He is
the poet.
Yeah, he has like a little typewriter, and then he'll write a poem for you. And I was hoping he'd be here tonight, but
Yeah, I haven't seen him I haven't seen
he
him.
was in California. He just came back. Yeah. So so here's the song. Here we go. Let's choose pen. Okay. Everywhere I look, I see a sign of life. The whole entire world's a book that tells of joy and strife. The years contained in trees, the moments of the birds, the back and forth of every breeze, I read like they were words. Ooh, ooh, singing of the world, singing of the world. What seems sometimes like pain, it's something died right there. Another life springs up again. I see it everywhere. Ooh, ooh. When I have hardship near, I sing these words anew. When I do this, I can hear the world is singing too. Ooh, 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 singing